Just 1 second. Brando, this is Thinkorswim. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and restart. Okay, well, let's go ahead and try that again. Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, March 4th, 2021. My name is Jared, and we're gonna go ahead and get started with our morning brew for today. So as always, we're gonna start with the SPY on the daily chart. We can see that overall we're still in a very bullish structure in the market with our 20, 50, and 200 uptrending and sloping up. We're obviously seeing some interesting selling pressure occurring at these price levels, not only with the fact that we're having some very strong up days followed by significant down days, but also just the general volatility and range that's occurring within SPY and other ETFs. You can notice based on yesterday's price action, we're fighting between the 20 and the 50, and we're having a little bit of trouble getting back above the 20, which would be an indication that we could potentially gain some more bullish momentum. One of our theses yesterday was the potential for the market to reclaim sort of a short-term downtrend, to break out of that downtrend. And so far, the market has not been able to do so. If we look down at our 180-day 4-hour chart, you can see that overall we're still running into a lot of overhead resistance. We were unable to utilize this price action and this range to break higher, which is an idea for yesterday, something to keep in mind. Now that we've lost this range, you can see how significant our pull down was, and we are once again back at our channel lows, which has been not only major support, but sort of the overall structure that we're trying to see if the market can maintain. Overall, things are not looking well in this channel in terms of, reclaiming the top of the channel. If we were going to rebound from this channel, you would think that the market would be able to do it in a structure like this. But now they're basically running a second test of this lower side of the channel, and therefore it tends to be relatively weaker. It's almost as if they're trying to break it. So we do have the idea that now things are tightening in this sort of downtrend line resistance and uptrending channel support. We will see if the market simply breaks that channel support today, or if we continue to sort of coil in this range pattern or in this wedge pattern. And then finally, if we go to our lower time frame, 10-day, 30-minute, with our volume profile, similar story on the SPY. 390 continues to be where value is placed. There's a lot of price action up at 390. However, we continue to move away from 390. And yesterday, you can tell that not only did we move away, but we kind of aggressively sold through another shelf of value, which was around 384. Sitting at 380, the more probabilistic scenario is that we will have a return to value, hence seeing the curling action inside these two trend lines. But as any market can do anything, we are seeing that weakness, and we really want to take note of the fact that this is the second time we've been down at these prices, and we've seen almost no follow through from bounces recently. So will they move it up, start to coil it a little bit more and break down this channel, or will they move it up a third time and eventually get the breakout that we've been looking for a bullish thesis? So yet to be determined, but we are seeing lots of resistance at this trend line. I think we want to keep that in mind. So far, it has been a hard downtrend, short-term downtrend to break. Okay, shifting over to our Qs on the daily. There we go. So yesterday's thesis, we were somewhere stuck between, call it the 50 on the daily, the 15 movie average. We had some channel resistance, and then we had this daily trend line support that we were attempting to hold. Well, obviously, we lost all of those levels. We broke down pretty hard yesterday, not only losing any sort of trending or indicator-based support, but also just a more relevant and general idea of horizontal support sitting around in 310. So one thing of note on this breakdown is not only did we clear 310, but we closed below it. It can be very important to recognize that when you break a level, if prices not only clear it, but also hold below it for a significant portion of time, typically the idea is they will back test or reattempt to acquire that level. And if they fail, that is sort of your support turn resistance scenario, where price falls through, comes back and says, I can't get back above, and then falls even lower. So we're definitely seeing signs of that occurring on the Qs, which has been our general thesis over the past week or two, that larger tech names and the general tech sector are going to have some continued pressure in the short to medium term. You know, we'll see how long this lasts. Looking at our 180-day 4-hour, the 200 moving average, we called that out, providing a little bit of upside resistance. We also had 325 as a notable price level for them to get above. We attempted sort of the head and shoulder structure, but it looks like we found some significant resistance at this daily trend and completely sold from there. So very relevant structures here. And the most notable one that I think is worth carrying forward is that we definitely were trying to do an inverse head and shoulders. I might have said head and shoulders, I meant inverse. We were trying to do one, and we failed to complete it. So the rejection here led to a lot of selling, clearing both this area and then obviously our 310 area. So bringing it down to our 10-day, 30-minute, bringing in our volume profile. We've been discussing how value has been moving lower and lower in the Qs. It looks as if we're still sitting somewhere close to about 314 for our VPOC, with 312, I'll call it 313, and 323.75 as our range to attempt to get back into. Yes, it's true that we broke down, but you'll notice that there's not a ton of volume yet placed in this area. We obviously just have some pre-market data to look at. So I would not be surprised for the Qs to attempt to pull back, come back to back test 310, 312, the general previous supports. And then ultimately, if they do want to continue the selling, after that back test would be sort of a confirmation that that is now resistance. Especially since we sold off so significantly yesterday, that thesis would not be a really long-winded one. We could definitely see that pull back and retest. And then going to the IWM and going just back to our general view. IWM overall strongest of our markets in terms of the technical structure. We do see selling in IWM as of yesterday. Most markets did have selling. However, there are some channel and relative moving average indicators to carry forward. If the market sees a bounce, we would expect IWM to be one of the first signs that that bounce is occurring, because it is one of our strongest areas of interest. You can see here that the IWM still is trying to hold on to the 4-hour 200-day moving average, or 200 period moving average, with the 20 and the 50 providing a general range of support and resistance, but overall pretty flat on the 4-hour. We have our channel providing the support. We've seen multiple tests of this channel, so it's being well confirmed that this is an area of interest for traders and individuals buying into this product. But we also have, similar to the SPY, this downtrend line that provided resistance. So the potential for curling to occur and then these two lines to eventually meet is still a thesis at this point, especially if we see any strength in this marketplace. This would be the spot to find it and to kind of see the confirmation of maybe a breakout if we have strength. If everything is weak, I would expect this one to ultimately break down as well, but maybe the selling to not be as significant. So. And then shifting into our 10-day, 30-minute, adding in our volume profile, we're sitting at this lower 218 range, starting to consolidate a little bit in pre-market with the obvious support level of our trend line. 220 is our value zone, so it's not too far away. Once again, thesis here would likely be a pullback into VPOC, pullback into value, and then getting a better sense of direction based on maybe something with a more clear price action. This one, with the potential to consolidate in the wedge or in the structure of support and resistance, is likely going to be a little less clear outside of Qs and SPY selling. That could lead to a breakdown on this product. If those products are strong or at least have a rebound, we'll start to see more of the coiling action in this product. So. Okay, so those are our basic overviews of the market. And shifting into the discussion that was taking place yesterday, we were looking at different sectors of the SPY with 11 main sectors that comprise the S&P 500. I showed a breakdown of the S&P 500, both which sectors comprise what weight in that ETF, and some of the notable candidates or names in each of those sectors. You have information technology, Apple and Microsoft. You have healthcare, J&J, United Healthcare. You have communication, Facebook, Google, and then consumer discretionary, Amazon, and other major retailers. So, and financials, Berkshire, Citi, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs. So knowing those weightings can be important to see, one, why the SPY is strong or weak on a particular day, but also just to know who's in control relative to why the overall market is strong or weak. And given that some of the weightings are lower in sectors that have been bullish over the past couple of weeks before we saw some selling in S&Ps. Those sectors have been trying to counterbalance the selling that we are seeing in the tech sector. So what I tend to want to do for this this segment is just showcase some very simple ETFs that can be used or reviewed in order to see where strength and where weakness lies. So in my watch list here, looks like I have maybe 13. I probably have the main 11, and then I have 2 additional ETFs. But these are sector ETFs that represent some of the holding and the weighting structure of the S&P 500. Just walking through some of these real quick so that we begin to get familiar with them. I'll go ahead and just load our basic 20, 50, and 200. You'll see things like XLK, which is going to be our technology ETF. And very similar to the NASDAQ 100 ETF, the Qs, we see selling, we see loss or attempted loss of support levels, we see loss of channel. It's a very similar picture here because a lot of these holdings are the same. Even if we draw our daily trend line, we can see that we're actually breaking down on this daily trend. So very notable picture here. There's a lot of similarities to the NASDAQ, but this would be our first place to look, given that it is our largest market cap. Let's see, let's go into healthcare next, which will be XLV. Let's see. Go ahead and remove these. These are a little off. Okay. XLV, just an overall selling pressure in this area, but once again, a very major sector of the SPY. We can see here that although maybe not as weak as technology and not as much of a holding in the S&P 500, the selling is adding to the continual pressure of the market. Financials, slightly different picture here. We see that amidst all of this weakness in the market, the financials have actually been not only relatively strong, but outperforming the market performance. So on days where we had heavy selling, sure, we saw a couple of days of a pullback, but this product is currently not only at a relative high, and you can even see yesterday we even made a new high, but if we pull it back even further and even to a max, you can see that something like the XLF financials have been breaking out of their all-time highs. So this is always that counterbalance to the market, and why diversification in the S&P tends to work from a long-term perspective. Certain sectors will be strong for a period of time. They will very much outperform the S&P, and they will provide some excellent bullish scenarios. And then the baton will shift. That sector will become a laggard for a period of time. It'll either sell or remain relatively flat. And then a new sector will pick up the baton. In this case, financials is attempting to pick up that weight. But even though financials look and are structurally very strong, they're not as heavily weighted as technology. So they have to do more work in order to, fix the selling in tech. And then something like energy, not at all-time highs, but once again, just wanting to show that amidst all the selling, we've had multiple strong days, momentum trend days to the upside, with very limited pullbacks really just to backtest some minor support areas, and then continued strength. So financials and energy, they tend to thrive in a higher interest rate environment, at least for a period of time. There's usually a sweet spot of rising interest rate and too high interest rate, which we'll get to in another session. But financials and energy have been doing really well. So something to keep in mind. And then I guess one more, I'll just do communication. Overall, communication has been holding up fairly well. This is going to be our Facebooks, our Googles, and then some other notable names that you may know of. But these stocks, while thought of as technology, are not necessarily providing a lot of the selling pressure. They're merely a related sector, and they're having, I would say, less pressure put on them by rising interest rates and some of the initial fears that have gone on in technology sector. Them holding up well, and the fact that if the market were to rebound, this would be another spot where putting on or looking for bullish structure or bullish trades would be a great candidate. Financial strong, energy strong, communications maybe consolidating, tech obviously very weak relative, and then healthcare significantly weak, but maybe not the weakest of the five. And I'm not going to go through the entire list. There are multiple ETFs for each of these. What I want to encourage you all to do is, if you're using the SPY as an indicator, if you have it on your charts, if you're watching it intraday, it may be wise throughout the day to pull up these ETFs and see why the SPY is doing what it's doing. Is it one sector that's essentially controlling the directionality of the SPY during that day? Is there a full court sort of press to the upside or downside? Those would be very strong bullish trending days or bearish trending days if every sector is moving in the same direction. And then what I think is more powerful is if you can identify a sector that has a really good chance of outperforming or underperforming on that day. You can dig in, find stocks, find candidates, or even the ETF itself, and trade just that relative to the SPY. And that will give you sort of an outperformance or a bigger range to trade against relative to the market. So on days where maybe there's not a lot of gapping stocks, but the market is giving good range, that could be a backup for you, where you're looking at sectors and at candidates that have been in play and are just waiting for the market to give them the potential to make their trade. So for that, I think we'll begin to use these ETFs in our weekly discussions. I will be bringing them up, in short order, just to show where they lie and why they're doing, hopefully, what they're doing. But we'll use that as additional context with regards to the SPY, the Qs, the IWM, and hopefully all of that put together will build a more concrete picture of what's actually happening behind the scenes. Okay, so I'm going to quickly answer a few questions here. You use the same account for both swing and day trading? If not, what do you use for day trading? For day trading, I use DOS, and for swing trading, I tend to use Thinkorswim. So I'm going to go ahead and call it for today. I hope you've enjoyed. I have to, unfortunately, sign off a little early, but please stay tuned for Carlos and Norm, and I'll be answering any questions in the chat in just a moment. So thank you all, and have a great trading session and a great Thursday.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Thor. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm amazing. How are you doing, Carlos?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. All right, guys. Let's get right to it. Thank you, Jared, for that. Again, every morning I am learning so much more now. So thank you. We really appreciate you taking the time to do
Right?
that. Especially he's actually in the hotel room. He's actually in the hotel room down over by with Andrew and Norm. That's why Norm is not on this morning. They had to meet up yesterday, and we got some pictures that look just amazing. So hopefully you guys had a lot of fun. If you went down, thank you for that. I'm sure it was appreciated. All right, guys, let's get to it. On our list yesterday, we had quite a bit here that was trading pretty much. If you take a look at the SPY yesterday, I mean, every stock, if you pull up the 5 minute, every stock looked like this yesterday. There was only one probably on our watches that did not do this, and I think that was OCGN. That one had a nice big pop at the open, and we'll show you that in a second. But if you put this side by side, and actually, let's do this. Instead of putting our usual screen, let's bring up this one. I want to show you the side by side. So here's the SPY at the moment, right? This is yesterday. And then we'll take a look at, for example, let's look at OCGN. This was one that was on our list, top of the list yesterday. We put up the same time frame, yesterday's 5 minute, and you can see how the SPY is manipulating a lot of the movements in the stock market. With some of the stocks that are either gapping up or down, the SPY is taking control of them. And kind of what Jared was talking about this morning. OCGN was the only one that popped up nicely, guys. And look where it comes up to, right to the high of the pre-market. I mean, how great is that? So right down here, high of the pre-market, then you get this beautiful drop down towards the bottom. But again, pretty nice play there on OCGN. You could definitely see how great this level in the pre-market was. Went right to it and then sells off nicely. If we take a look at CAN, this stock is not easy to trade, but yesterday, again, pretty similar. Look at the 5 minute, pretty similar to what the market is doing, right? The initial sell off, and then here around 1125, 1125, you start getting this downtrend and just basically doing whatever the SPY is doing. So that was CAN yesterday. A little bit of a rough start, very choppy here in the morning. Then after that, just kind of as the volume dies down in some of these stocks, they just start doing whatever the overall market is doing. Here's RKT, and this was a good one too, guys. Sold off nicely. If you look at the daily on this one, it just basically did an engulfing pattern yesterday on the beautiful run it had the day before, right? So here again, look at the pattern again, very similar to what the SPY is doing, especially later in the day when stocks typically tend to lose a little volume. You can see here how it's just really basically following what the SPY is doing. And we also had a Fubo. Fubo was another one that was very active. Again, a little bit of a drop here in the morning, later in the afternoon, just following whatever the SPY is doing. So again, if you were short on any of these stocks, you were doing very well. This is why during these market conditions, you got to keep an eye on the SPY and the overall market because it is manipulating the way some of these stocks are trading. Here's NEO. NEO just did exactly what the market did. I mean, I don't see no differences here at all on NEO. But again, you have some really good opportunities. Look at this drop here. Once it lost this moving average and VWAP, look at the drop you're getting there. That was very clean on NEO as well. So last one on our list was DKNG. Let's take a look at that one. Again, very clean off the bat. Not as choppy as some of the stocks were out the gates. This was a little bit cleaner. Nice short towards the downside. And again, just kind of selling off and following the overall market there. So that was pretty much the day for yesterday. Look at the SPY and pretty much with everything, how everything moved yesterday. Thor, let's get into the market pulse. What do we have going on for today as far as news coming out?
So, first of all, initial jobless claims were just released out. Thanks, Art. That's on CBC now. Claims are up a bit, so that should help the sentiment of the market, I would think. Just looking across the market right now, especially looking at the charts for items like SPY, TQs, and other such things like that, as you notice, today we find ourselves in the very, very low end of kind of a range here. And if we have a significant breakdown through, let's say, 375, 370, 750, somewhere in that range, I would expect a pretty decent amount of selling off to occur. We're firmly below the 20 EMA on the daily for the SPY, and and that's looking that. However, I will say that the news across the market is it's buy the dip time. So all the news articles that I'm looking at, that everyone's posting out there, it's all, why is the S&P 500 bull market run probably only getting started? Why buy the dip on Apple, Microsoft? And it's true. You got tech stocks like Netflix, Apple. Netflix is down almost $100 in the past week or so, right? So there may be some good opportunities. Other places, I would like to point out, yesterday, while the market ran very weak, the travel sector ran very strong. So that seems like there may have been a slight rotation into travel sector. So you had stocks like Boeing, Carnival Cruise Lines, Norwegian Cruise Lines. All of those stocks all upward trended yesterday, while the entire rest of the market went down. So that is something to pay attention to, because if the market goes into a strong pattern today, I would not expect stocks that trended against the market yesterday to then drop, right? So if the market starts to go up and really starts to run, you could see a nice pop out of these stocks. If the market starts to recede, these stocks might be a safe haven if you're long biased to still potentially get some decent long side trades. Otherwise, if the market does go weak and does anything but bounces in the morning and starts making some new lows, be really careful. It might be time to correct just a little bit more before we get this bull rally that everyone's already expecting.
Yeah, I fully agree. And the one I was watching yesterday was American Airlines, because their daily looks amazing. I mean, this daily here, guys, if you look at this, it looks really good. It's like it's ready for a breakout. United,
compression on the daily looks real good.
Yeah, United as well. So keep an eye on these, because again, everything, not everything, but most of the stocks are following the overall market. And just to look at what's been happening the last couple of days, again, if you missed us at 8 a.m., Jared's going through the in-depth of the market, so make sure you tune in for that. We're live now at 8 a.m. in the morning. Look at the candles we're getting here. I mean, we're still stuck within a range, like Jared was saying, but look at the how wide these candles are. When you get that type of movement with that volume, you are going to pull some stocks with you. It's just what's going to happen. So,
and trading, Carlos, hasn't it seemed a little bit not easier, I would say, but funner the past few days? Actually getting some real distance on the market, whether it's up or down. We need that volatility to help us with our intraday plays. So it's really nice to see the SPY moving around a little bit.
Yep, I agree 100%. So again, keep an eye on the SPY, guys. It's a great time to be a day trader. Swing trader could be a little bit tough, but day trader, man, you are getting some really, really good moves. And we get this question a lot when we build our watch list. Why don't you guys have stuff that only has a catalyst? Well, this is the reason why. A lot of these stocks don't have an individual catalyst, but when the market is moving like this, we're finding opportunities. So, all right, guys, let's get into it. Let's remove what we had yesterday here on our list, and let's start to build today's watch list. We'll start with what's on the gapping up list, which is not a lot today. Pretty slim this morning compared to what we usually get. Obviously, the market is slightly down today. SKT, let's start there. This one, it is up 17% at the moment. Let's get the charts in line here. Let's get our 5 minute. Here we go. Interesting pre-market action today. So 33 short flow interest, so pretty high short flow interest there on this one, so that could be creating a bit of a squeeze here. Thor, you spoke about this in your webinar, which is up on our website, guys. If you have not seen it, it's a must watch. That was part 2. Part 3 is already scheduled, coming up later on. But look at this, guys. Look how beautiful this pre-market looks right now. So not too much of a fan of the daily. We'll have to see how this stock trades. Their spread right now is okay, but this thing can move, guys. I mean, we're seeing now the high of the pre-market 25.69, the low at 17. So, Thor,
Carlos,
any news on
this one? Yeah, this one's on WSB's radar. So Wall Street Bets is in on this one. So one thing that you're going to start to see a lot, and also I noticed in DOS, they actually added short interest percentage to the fundamentals window in DOS, which I did not know until I was just looking. So I don't know if that's in the last update, but hooray. But you'll notice they seem to specifically target anything with a high short interest, right? So, this one's at 33%. You saw yesterday we had the big run on Rocket yesterday. That's because Rocket's around 40%, right? Short float. So they're targeting any stock where you have an over leverage to the short side, and then they're basically squeezing it. And if you look at yesterday's Rocket chart, the past 2 days on the daily, which Carlos has up, you will see what a short squeeze looks like. Because the value is at the exact same place it was 3 days ago at the bottom of the candle, but it went to $42 and it came right back. That is what a short squeeze looks like.
yeah, this is a great example here, guys. And again, slamming right back down to this area where it opened up at, when it gapped up to 2 days ago. So SKT, guys, looks interesting. I mean, you just got to be careful with it, because again, this move here could be aggressive. You want to be careful with the number of shares you take on this stock. Let's take a look at the next one, SLGG. This one is a low flow stock, and the pre-market action right now is not looking all that great. We are up 16% at the moment, 5.3 million. But again, pre-market action action dying down a little bit here. We will put this in our risky pile down over here. Again, low flow stock sitting at 16 million. You want to be very careful with that one. Next on the list, CLNE. And Thor, you know how this goes, man. You have any news, cut me off if there's any good catalyst that we should be aware about. Here it is, CLNE. This one, guys, looking horrible pre-market action. Not a great daily. We'll skip on down. PLTR. Oh, PLTR. This one is just, again, it's one of these stocks where it can give you an amazing day and then a brutal day right after. It's just so difficult to trade. But I tell you, when it is in play, it does amazing. Right now, pre-market action looks great, looks really good. Again, 3 million shares traded at the moment. They are up 5%. Their daily has been stuck within this range though, right, between 23.52 and what seems to be 25.45. I'll remove these levels just to get a little clearer view there. So we'll see what happens when we get closer to this area of resistance that we have for the last about four or 5 days or so. So again, worth taking a look at, which has got to be mindful that this stock can be very choppy. Even after a great pre-market action at the open, it could just bomb. We're just talking about these travel stocks that you mentioned earlier. Here's NCLH leading the way this morning, up 4% with a great pre-market action. Good decent volume. 444 is good for NCLH. If it was a CCL, I would want to see about a 1.5 million. What they have actually? Let's look at CCL. Oh, it was close at 1 million. That's good. That's good volume for CCL. Great daily as well. So both of these, I'm gonna add them both on here. We'll decide which one we keep later down the line. Maybe one could be a main one. The second one could be a secondary on the secondary list. But looking good today.
My best trade yesterday was on CCL, and I got it short from and got it all the way down to and then it rallied the whole rest of the day. I got this really beautiful short in it. I thought I was going to dump, and then it ended up becoming an all-day rally. But that's just when the market's moving like this, you can make money both ways. Which is great.
You definitely can. But what I loved yesterday is you and Brian were trading live in the chat room, and he was short. Was he short? He was short, and you were long. He was short. He covered, made his money on that trade, and then you were in your long position, didn't hit your stop, obviously, and made your money on the long side. So it's just a beautiful thing how many ways you can trade the market. If anybody tells you that this is the way to trade the market, do not listen to that person. There's so many different ways.
And for the record, whenever Brian Pesum goes in an opposite position against you and announces it, does not make you feel awesome about your position.
Not at all. Especially that guy. He knows too much about what's going on with the market.
I know. He can read that price action, man.
Absolutely. Here, let's go to DKNG, guys, this morning. They are up 4.5 right now, 625,000 shares traded. Pre-market action looks good. They're daily a little funky over the last couple of days. But I got to say, it is fun to watch DKNG. I think they're looking pretty good this morning. We'll keep a close eye on that one. I mean, DKNG right now is $68. This thing was down, 28 before that, so pretty nice run they had in the last couple of weeks here, months really. All right, let's stop here.
DKNG's got a new deal with the UFC, so that could be spawning a little bit of the excitement here.
Nice. Looking forward to see how that is going to play out at the market open. I'm going to stop here. I want to look at all of these because some of these we looked at. UWMC wasn't great last time we looked at it. OPN had earnings, but they weren't great neither when they were gapping up. But I want to get down to these travel stocks. We have CCL on the list already, so that's looking really good. We have BA down here as well, and I do like BA's daily, guys. If you look at this one this morning, getting up to that 240 area of resistance. Again, as you mentioned, these travel companies doing very well. I'm going to put BA up here. I know I have 3 travel companies here. We'll fine tune that as we get closer to our pre-market open here. PBR coming up on the list, not looking great. We'll skip on that one. So far some pretty good stuff here in the travel sector. Let's see what's gapping down. CDGR, this one is down 27%, so somebody really messed something up here. 203,000 shares traded at the moment. You can tell this stock doesn't trade great in the intraday just by looking at the volume you're getting here and the moves you're making. Take this day for example here, which is a pretty wide bar here. You have 93 is the opening of this candle, and the drop is down to 83, right? So nice decent sized drop. You're doing that with 1.6 million shares. That tells me that price action is not going to be clean. The spread is going to be horrible. You could quickly tell by just that number of volume and how wide that price range is. Now you can go into the details and see what happened. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just one drop that happened, but for the most part that's what you're going to get. So again, pre-market, yes, it looks good, guys, to be down 27%, and you might have an opportunity here, but to manage the risk on something like this and to read the price action is very difficult. So I'm gonna skip on that one. You know what? I'll put it as a possible because I want to actually see how it does at the market open. I want to, but not something you want to be, not something I will have on my list normally. KMPH, this one here was active yesterday, huge gap up, sold off for the most part, end of the day red. Not red, but at the intraday red. Here we're down 12% right now. Pre-market action with some volume at 853,000 shares traded. Their daily is just horrible. I don't think I kept it on my list, or at least I didn't look at it. Let's see what it did yesterday. Yeah, it didn't look a lot of fun. It doesn't look great. Looks like it just followed whatever the SPY did based on this drop here. And again, you have other stocks like Apple, like NEO yesterday, that were trading so clean. You want to probably trade those if you're going to follow something that the market is doing, right? So let's skip on this one right now. BNGO, what do we have here? This one, I love the daily drop here. We're losing a great area of support, or just slightly below it. Down 5.4 this morning, 1 million shares traded. Pre-market action looks okay. I think it's worth watching today. Worth taking at least a second look at that one. BHP, I think this is foreign. Yeah, and it should be, because it is not looking great on the daily or on the pre-market action. We'll skip on that one. Here's MRVL. At the moment, they're down 4.3, so nice big drop for them this morning. What's the latest and greatest on this one, Norm? Because they usually don't move like this unless they have some kind of news. We watched the stock before.
They had their earnings.
They did?
I believe
Okay.
it looks like that. I'm trying to see what the results of that were. That's a little bit more difficult, but falls despite quarter 4 revenue beat. So they actually beat earnings, but there must have been some information that they threw out there that people didn't like. So I'm trying to figure that out.
You know, while you go through that, I got a question on the email about earnings, and I'll timestamp that person and send it to them if they're not watching. But for anybody else wondering, you know, they ask if there's any earnings stronger than other ones that can create a better move. And the answer is sometimes earnings and news you just don't know. It's very difficult to trade the news, guys, especially in this market. We've seen it so many times where, you know, stocks do well, they beat their numbers, even their future projection is actually one of the things that a lot of investors look for. Right? They want to know where you're going to be at in the future, so that tends to move it one way or another.
That looks like that's what's going on here.
That's
it looks
what's
like
going
their
on there?
guidance is down a little bit.
Yeah.
So their earnings were good. Their transcript was, their revenue was a beat, but their potential revenue for the next quarter is not quite as good. So people are kind of factoring that in here, and it looks like they've got a downgrade from Summit Height Insights. Downgrade them only from a buy to a hold, but you know, still.
Yeah. People want to know that they're going to have a strong future, right? If not, why stick around? So that might be a little bit stronger catalyst, right? You always look at what's the guidance. People tend to do that, look into that more, opposed to, oh, they beat the numbers, had great sales. Well, yeah, that passed already. And, you know, they want to know what's happening going forward. You're going to go up or down. So, but again, guys, the news, the way I like to trade the news, and us as day traders, let the news create volatility and bring volume in for you. And we talk about this in our onboarding class about the news. You know, we have the Benzinga in our chat room there. Let it create volume, because us as retail traders, we're never going to hear the news first. You know, by the time the news comes out, there's already going to be some movement happening from, you know, either computers or bigger firms that have better access than we do. But that doesn't mean we cannot trade the news. Just you have to wait for it to create volatility, let it create volume, let it create the movement, and then you look at your trade book, right? You look at your trade book and you see, okay, what can I trade out of this? Where's the pattern? What's the strategy here? But just to trade blindly, hey, it's positive news, I'm going to go long. You know, that you'd be surprised how many times that can get you in a bad situation. So we'll put Marble here, guys. They got some bad guidance. Good to see them drop like this, 5%. Volume is okay. We'll see how that's going to develop. SLQT this morning, they are down a 4.5, 275,000 shares traded. Overall, their daily does not seem to get great volume. 275 right now. I do like the pre-market action right at the moment. It's looking good, this drop here. Could be a potential one. Let's take a look at that. SLQT. We'll keep it on here for now.
Doing a secondary offering.
Okay, so not the best catalyst, but man, with this market, who knows? Who knows? We'll keep an eye on it. It's insane. And you were talking about it in the chat room yesterday how the difference between the afternoon trading now between a year and 2 years ago. The afternoon trading is very, very active, and again, just the volume nowadays is incredible. All right, guys, let's stop here. Thor, what do you like this morning on your end?
For me, I'm going to be kind of hanging out in where I've been hanging out the past couple of weeks mostly, which is the EV and travel sector. I feel like Tech could be a good bounce today too, but EV, basically the sector across the board, has been selling off quite nicely, and it's all in a really critical area. So I can watch that and make a decision once it makes a decision. I can go one way or the other. And then again, travel had such a nice rally against a downtrending market yesterday. I would be interested to see if more of the smart money is gonna rotate over into the travel sector and kind of push that up, because we do have, some good stuff for that. COVID, making progress and all of that. So I think investors are already thinking a little ahead and starting to get their travel stock positions in now before things really get humming. So that's probably where my focus will be, unless something dramatically jumps out. But right now, I don't have any one stock that's just like hitting me right now. Like I got to trade this one. But I've got a lot of stocks that I'm interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. NEO looks good today too. I'm going to keep an eye on that one, so we'll put that one on here. I mean, they have 3.8
NEO's always on my list
million.
these days.
It is a good one, I got to say, especially after this drop. If you look at the candles, look how wide these are. So you're getting some real clean movement with volume. So yeah, NEO's definitely on the list today.
Yeah, and if you zoom out a little bit more on your daily, you'll kind of see what I'm looking at, which is you're basically sitting on the edge of a shelf. So if we make just a little bit down below 37, back to 30, right? Or this would be a perfect place to see a nice defense come in. Well, yeah. So if the longer term bids or bulls are going to defend, this is probably the spot they're going to do it. So that's why I find it interesting to watch.
I agree 100%. This is definitely they've been defending very, very well. Even when they did below to 38.53, they've been able to bounce nicely. So it's going to be interesting to say the least here. If they lose that, or if they bounce it, there's going to be some opportunities. All right, guys, let's see what you guys have this morning. Let's start with who do we have here? Let's start with Rich B from UK. PLTR, we have, PLTR, yeah, we do have that one, guys. Very, very active. Again, also very similar to NEO, having this great area, this base here. Look at this area of support that we've seen on PLTR. Again, the challenge with PLTR, as I mentioned earlier, is can it trade clean this morning? NEO, we do have on deck, so that's good. UAL, yes, I do. Did I put American Airlines up here? I should have. We looked at it, and I do like American Airlines this morning, and I do like United. United is good too as well. You can watch that also. Again, very heavy on the travel sector today because they're doing well even with the market dropping. They're not following. If you look at their daily, they're not following what the market is doing, which could be good. If we see usually, and again, doesn't mean this is going to happen, but when stocks do this, if the market has any signs of strength, these things can really, really blow up here. So we'll be looking forward to that. All right, and DM, let's take a look at that one. And then DM, what do we have here? Right now, pre-market action 1.5. We are down 2% this morning. I don't like the pre-market action so much on this one. And again, my experience on this stock has not been great. I don't think they trade well in the intraday. We'll come back to this one. We'll keep it on here for now. We'll see if it gets any better. Heading on down, CCIV. What's going on with that one? Very active as well. Pretty much flat right now, but it was down nicely this morning. Found support here at this 23.24, as low as 22.21. At the moment, great volume. Pre-market is active. Yeah, we can take a look at this. Their daily is interesting. We're holding on. Let me get rid of all these levels. There we go. That's a lot cleaner. They're holding on to this level of prior resistance and a little bit of support here. So we'll see what can happen there. But their volume looks really good today. So yeah, I like what's happening there. As well.
Yeah, CCIV, I've had a couple days on that one where the spread's been nice and it's actually traded pretty well. So I've seen days where it hasn't done that, but lately it seems like it's been in play pretty well. So people have been messing with it.
Yeah, it seems like when I don't have it on my list, it trades amazing. When I put it on my list, it's just tragic. So let's take a look at NEO. We do have. Let's look at Plug.
Story of my life.
Having the right stock at the right time is so important. That's part of the challenge with trading as well. Plug here. So Plugs at the moment they're down 1.4, 516. Again, this is another one that's been pretty much following the stock market quite a bit here. So again, I'm not seeing anything that looks overly exciting besides this possible drop here. If we lose this, the only level we have is all the way down here. So that could be interesting for a short. If it does decide to drop, I think it can run nicely. But again, I think the market's going to have a lot to do with that when it comes to Plug, unless they have their own independent catalyst. INO, we do have. Let's look at Oxy. Oxy's also doing pretty well as far as the daily has not been dropping down here. Right now, they're looking pretty light as far as the pre-market action. It is getting better though, as you see the volume coming in. You're kind of getting this ramp here. Hopefully that ramp stays steady, and if it does, this can create some really nice candles here. I'm gonna wait for this one to hit the scanners though. I know Oxy already. I know if it's getting the volume, if it's hitting the turbo breakup scanner, it could be a good one to trade. And out of all these, the oil sector, this one, it trades the cleanest, at least for me.
Yeah, I know with, and I don't know all the details of it, but I know OPEC and in the oil sector, there's a lot of, especially after all of the Texas stuff that happened, and because we had some oil restrictions there when it got cold and all of that. So now there's a lot of discussion about production in oil right now. So there may be a little volatility in this sector depending on how that's going. I haven't looked too much into it, but I remember hearing about that on one of my listens this morning.
Excellent. Here's GME, guys. So GME at the moment, again, it's fun to watch. I don't think it's really easy to trade this stock. Again, it's so highly manipulated by these crazy pops and drops. So again, just be careful if you're going to be watching this. We're holding this area right on here at right around 125 is the previous day close, 124.18. Again, it's fun to watch, but I won't be adding it to my list. There's so many other stocks that are looking great here that are going to be easier to trade. That's for sure. CCIV.
Yeah, just remember somebody bought it at 400.
Oh man, no, I know it's not any of our members because we got some pretty good traders in here. So yeah, I know it's not them. All right, guys, let's stop here. Let's check over on YouTube. What do we have, guys? Let's start with Oscar Mendez. You're giving us OTLK. What do we have here? OTLK. All right, yeah, this is not looking great right now. Volume is very light. Unless you confuse this for OSTK, I know that one tends to get volume, but this one doesn't look good right now. I mean, you're only 17,000 shares. You're not getting a lot of volume for the pre-market. Let's look at FSLY. What do we have there? FSLY, again, no volume on this. Only 44,000. Again, it's been dropping nicely. I know we talked about this a couple of days ago. But again, if you look at this here, right, it just pretty much did what the SPY is doing. There are better trading stocks. You can manage your risk a lot better that are doing this right here. Neo did it. We went through them, right? So this is one that I will not keep on my list because it's not going to trade well. And the volume is very light for the most part, 10 million for the entire day. That's not great volume when you look at these other companies that are doing the same thing with amazing volume and great movement. So just keep that in mind there. SPOT. Spot again. This one, guys, interesting daily for sure. We're sitting right at a level that we tried to bounce off a few days ago, right? So we're back on that level again after a massive red day yesterday. It is just difficult to trade. There's no volume right now in the pre-market, so volume will come in at the market open. It usually does, but look at the volume on any given day here. Under 2 million per day, and the movements are 30-40 bucks. It's just the price action on this one. It's very, very difficult. Look at this big day here back in December. What is this? December 1st. I can't tell what day it is. December 2nd. 8.2 million, and we're going from 283 up to 330. I mean, could you just imagine the price action on this? So just be careful with this one if you're going to watch it. Again, look at this.
It can run some very aggressive spreads.
Yeah. So. It's got to be careful.
And I mean, for a $300 stock, I mean, it runs bigger spreads than Tesla does, and Tesla is like twice the price.
But by far, the spread is incredible. And again, just look at the action you're getting here. Very similar to what the SPY is doing. So they're not trading on their own news, I don't believe. Again, just find other stocks that are trading better, right? Just do that. Let's take a look at SNGX this morning. What do we have here? This one right now. We've seen this one before, actually. Doesn't trade very well. Very choppy. They got volume right now. Just looking at the numbers, they look great. 14.3% up this morning. 11 million shares traded, which seems like a lot. But for a stock that's more of under a dollar, penny type stock, this is not great. And again, we've seen it before. It doesn't trade very well. I will be very cautious with that one. All right, we have time, and we got maybe two more. Let's look at FedEx, FDX. What do we have here? FedEx, no volume right now, unless they have news or something. They trade well sometimes, but I'm not seeing anything great right now. Volume is very, very light. TTD. What do we have here? TTD. Nope, no volume there, guys. Yeah, so we want to let's try to find stocks that have the volume at 100 plus. We want to start seeing movement now in the pre-market, right? That's usually a filter we want to have there. So let's do two more. BL and K. This one at 187, so we got some movement on here. Daily looks interesting, guys, sitting right at this area of prior support, prior resistance before we had this beautiful breakout here, right? The second test of right of that level, that previous day close, that was nice. So daily looks interesting. Yeah, this could be pre-market could be better. It's got to get better here. They've been on a real nice downtrend here the last couple of days. Obviously, if they continue to drop here, this could be nice. So we'll take a second look at it and see what can come out of BLNK. All right, let's stop here, guys. Let's go ahead and go over to our announcements. We'll come back and fine-tune this amazing list so far.
Hey, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get into some announcements here. That automatic rotate through the slides thing that it did yesterday, Carlos.
Let me fix that for you. I don't know why that's happening now. I got to find out why it's auto-playing. Shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, an autoplay probably turned on or something.
Yeah.
So on Tuesday, we had a webinar, and it was by me. So how fun. That webinar is posted now and is available to anyone who has not seen it in the Education Center. Check it out. It was part 2 on my how to trade using pivot points, and it was on price-based analysis. Thanks, Hans. So I hope everyone enjoyed that. On Thursday, I'm going to be doing the Thursday webinar or the Thursday mentorship class as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about that and get into it. Tuesday, March 9th, coming up, Michael is doing a really awesome topic, which is trade book. Do you need one? I have a pretty good feeling he's going to be making a positive presentation on the necessity for a trade book here. But who knows? Maybe he'll trick me and he'll just come out and say, nah, you don't need one. But I doubt it. So this is going to be a really, really good one to walk through. There's going to be some really compelling information behind why you should be using a trade book, I'd imagine, and some things like that. Also, don't forget, Michael has actually recently published a book with Andrew on trading psychology. I just finished reading it a week ago. And when I say reading it, I mean I listened to the audiobook, which it's in audiobook, so check that out. So if you haven't had an opportunity, check out this guy's material. It's really, really good. So get by and check that out. So great webinar coming up by a great author. All right, we have our Mastermind Pro course coming up. This is with Dr. Kenneth Reed, the Kill Zone. This is going to be, I mean, we just got these crazily good topics. It's like, I don't even watch TV anymore because of all these, I've always got a presentation to watch. So he talks about 61.8% is the golden ratio, and he's going to talk about using Fibonacci math in his own trading. Or sorry, that was yesterday's course. Sorry, that was last night's course. My bad. So this is one I still need to read. Coming up next week is going to be Kreda, and she's doing Taming Your Adrenaline Chimp or Overcoming Your Analysis Paralysis. So we talk about this a lot, right? You know, taming that animal side of you that just reacts completely on emotion and causes you to do things you're not supposed to do. Kreda has been trying to cure us all of this problem, and I think she's doing a great job. So get in there and check that one out. Upcoming meetups. Well, it has came and it has went. The DFW meetup was at 6 p.m. last night. I have just seen some great pictures, and I thought stock trading was the only kind of Romo that you could get. I was wrong. I watched all of those pictures of everyone having a good time, and I was really sad. I wanted to be there. So hopefully we got to get a Florida one going or something so I can get everybody to come down here and hang out with me, because I'm having I'm missing all of these meetups here. So hopefully we'll get some more of those going through. But it was a blast. I'm sure pictures are going to be posted on Andrew's social media if they're not already up there. So go give it a check. BBT member trade of the day. So the moderators are all in agreement on this right now, which is we are just floored by the amount of amazing BBT trades that we are getting. I mean, it has become like an issue to decide what is the best trade of the day, and especially what's the best trade of the week. It's just incredible, but I love seeing them. It's like my favorite thing to do towards the end of the day is get to scroll through and see everyone's cool trades that they've taken. If you end up wanting to participate in that, if you have a Twitter, great. If you don't, make one. They're free. and get on there and take your trade, do a screenshot of it, mark it up, kind of explain what your thought process was if you have an opportunity, and then go in there and then tag Ad Bear Bull Traders, Mike B_BBT, and Norm BBT, which is not me, but it's this guy right here. Go ahead and tag them, use hashtags BBT family, day trading, and stock market, and then you'll be put in the running for all of the positive accolades that come with, basically being the coolest person for the day. So I hope to see many more submissions for that. It is just an absolute cool thing to see every day. Interested in joining Bear Bull Traders? Well, we're interested in having you join us. So if you'd like to try the BBT chat room for 1 week, we have a promo code premarket24. That gives you a whole week for $24 to check out what BBT has to offer. I'm sure there could be a better deal out there for a future stock trader. I just think you're probably gonna have trouble finding it. The amount of information you're going to get, it's going to get you access to our onboarding class with Carlos, as well as our class that comes after that with Kyle that talks about the platform and things like that. Just great information. You get to come in, see the room, see the way it works, see the moderators and the personalities that we have and what we bring to the table. And then you can make a decision if you want to, if you really want to make that, investment and really get into the community. But we're confident that we don't need to just make you sign up for something big so we can get you. We're confident. Come in here. We'll only charge you a couple bucks. You can come check us out and give us a chance to prove to you that we're the real deal.
All right. Thank you, Thor, for that. I actually was trying to pull up the pictures as you were talking about the meetup yesterday, but I have one up here. Let me see if I can pull that up. Yes, here it is. So here's the meetup from yesterday.
Yeah.
Again, it looks like a lot of fun. Who's this guy all the way up here? Is he on top of a table or something? Who's that guy? So again, if you don't know, that's Norm.
Not
obviously.
Norm.
Not Norm, right? So again, it looks like a lot of fun there, guys. Glad to see you guys enjoying yourselves there. And then here's a look how great these guys look here. Look at that. That's Jared, and of course Andrew and Norm there. So. And for those on YouTube, Jared started doing a pre-market, the morning brew. I think this is the name that they're sticking with right now. Every morning at 8 a.m. So definitely join him. Again, just tons of great information. So, all right, guys. With that said, let's hop on over to building our watch list here. Did I mess something up? I think I messed something up by doing that. Hold on a second. I'm gonna fix that real quickly.
One picture
messes something up, man. All right, give me 1 second, guys. We'll bring this over here.
While he's doing that, everybody, I've already got a tentative confirmation that Andrew, that if I make a Florida meetup, he will come to it. So if I build it, he will come. So I'm going to do that. So we're going to start working on getting a Florida meetup together somewhere in, I want to do like Northeast Florida this time, near me in St. Augustine, Jacksonville area. That way we can I want to do a Southeast meetup, or anybody who wants to come here. I don't care where you're coming from. Come on. We'll take care of you. We'll buy you some drinks. So come on down. But I want to do it in North Florida, so maybe we can capture a big portion of the Northeast. So keep your eye out on that, because I'm going to start trying to put that together.
So Ahmed, yeah, we actually done in New York. We have probably had the most meetups. So we've done plenty of meetups in New York, and we'll get them starting again. So you can see the first big one after the pandemic happened just right now in Texas. So we'll get them rolling. All right, guys, let's take a look at this list here. We have SKT on our list. Crazy active pre-market action. That looks very good. We'll keep that on there. Here's POTR. Love, again, the pre-market action is just so clean. I will not be surprised if Norm is trading this right now. This is great pre-market action. I like what I'm seeing there. CCL in the travel sector, we got plenty here. NCLH, we'll pick which one we're going to watch today. Here's DKNG, also looking interesting as well. We have BA, another travel company. We'll decide what we're going to keep there. NEO, I do like. We're definitely keeping that on deck. And here we have American Airlines as well. Again, very heavy in the travel side, as you can see. We'll keep a few of those and fine-tune this list here. And then as far as the secondary, BNGO does look good. MRVL looks okay. SLQT, I love this drop here. Just not sure how clean that's going to be. United, another travel company. CCIV, great pre-market action. Yeah, we have a lot to choose from, guys, which is great to have options. All right, let's start. Let's. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We might be able to get through these levels. So let's get started. SKT at the moment, guys. High of the pre-market 25.72 or 69 to be exact. Let's put a level on there. Towards the daily, towards the bottom, right above the price action 20.97. We have a level here. Great area of prior rejection right on there. Then below that, another one here at 20.25. I'm gonna mark that down. And it's just funny how this is happening in the pre-market after putting those two levels. Look at the consolidation you're getting at the moment, just right between those two price actions. So we'll keep a close eye on that. And then below that, you have the highs and lows from the last two trading days. You got your previous day close at around 17.92. We can throw a level on there as well, but again, that previous day close line is going to be more important, I would say, because again, you don't have a lot of volume happening here on this low of the pre-market right now, and not a lot of touches as well. So keep that in mind. Here's PLTR with an amazing pre-market action right now. 5 million shares traded, up 5%. At the moment, we're just stuck within this range. Again, the big range here is 25.80 down to the previous day close, 23.40. Just bouncing back and forth between here. We're hitting the top of that now. Pre-market high slightly a little bit above the high of the range that we're looking at, which is the high from 2 days ago, I believe this is. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see what happens here. I definitely like what I'm seeing on PLTR. As far as levels, you know, I'm not even going to mark this one. There's no point in marking that one. You have this already on here. This is more important, right? Let's look outside of that range. Let's look at 26.41 if we get up there, and we also have 27.31. And then towards the bottom, if we were to go through all these levels here, we have below the previous day close. This area here has been very important. And if we scroll back, you can see we were talking about this earlier. The massive area of support you have here, 22.63 could be interesting. But right now, this stock is looking really strong. Here's CCL. Again, the travel company is doing very well, guys. Levels on this one are going to be easy. The chart is already doing the work for you. Highs and lows from the last two trading days are on there for you. Look how clean that is. We're squeezing nicely, wedging towards the top here. Above that, you have the high from yesterday, and our pre-market highs, I'm not going to mark it down. It's sitting at 29.49. But I like this 29.60, which is the high from yesterday. I'm going to keep that on there. And then let's just go back. We'll have to go back quite a bit to see where we are here as far as the daily. For anything above that 29.60, we're going to be looking at this day here, 31.01, and also right up here. Nice, beautiful. Look at the range here. Just the banging its head back and forth on this range. 33.31 and 31.01 is good for CCL. So pretty nice level, guys. I love the pre-market action, love the volume. CCL is heavily in play today, guys. The whole travel sector, again, I keep saying it, but you definitely want to have a couple of these in your watch today. 34.72 looking really good. High of the pre-market, again, very similar to CCL, so I won't go through the levels here. Highs and lows taking care of you there. Let's go back to the left here and see. Probably similar situation. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so you get a better view. We do have right over here, guys, 33.39, right? So you can see it right on here, guys, just the back and forth between the high of the pre-market now and also this level 37.39. So pretty good stuff there. Great pre-market action. A little bit less volume than CCL, but that's typical for NCLH. They usually get a little bit less. Here's DKNG. So DKNG's daily looks very interesting, guys. We had a couple of great pops here. A nice drop yesterday with a lot of stocks again doing this drop here, but they were not on a downtrend. If you look at a lot of the dailies on other stocks, they have this downtrend really heavily following the SPY. DKNG is not doing that. And as you mentioned, Thor, they had some news earlier today, so that hopefully that can do something for them. 63.09 low of the pre-market. Above that, you have the highs for the last two trading days. Previous day closed towards the bottom of the price action, and that is your all-time high. So could be interesting. Could be very interesting on DKNG. Pre-market actions got good volume as well. Here's BA, guys. BA pre-market is looking decent. I like what I'm seeing there. Again, another travel company doing very, very well. Have your pre-market at 234.47. We can throw a level there. And then most recently, most of the travel companies, you got to go back all the way into March of last year, right? This one here, actually, they got some levels over here going back into December, so they've done pretty good of coming back here a bit. 244.18, let's mark that there, and then also down here at 241.03, a couple of days just, you know, hitting that with their wicks there. That's going to be interesting to see. And then below the price action, previous day close and highs and lows from the last two trading days, up 2%. Volume of 307 for BA is actually pretty decent. Here's NEO, guys. NEO right now, again, definitely heavily in play the last couple of days, doing very well. 4.5 million shares traded right now. Their pre-market action, the low of that is going to be 39.23, but we do have this level here, this 38.53. Be mindful of that one. It's a great area of support. We're losing this previous day close, which, as we mentioned before, also another great area of support. So just slightly below that, and then above that you have all the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. So pretty good action there. Here is American Airlines, again, another travel company, very similar situation. Towards the bottom, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, taking care of you there. The high from yesterday right up here. So look at American Airlines yesterday. Market is selling off and they're ending the day green. That's a great sign. I like what I'm seeing there for American Airlines. High of the pre-market right now, 22.45. If we see some strength in the market, I think these are going to be some real good ones to watch, as you mentioned, Thor, earlier. Above this level, we do have 23.64. We'll throw a level there, and I think that's pretty much okay for now for American. All right, so we went through that pretty quick there. I think it's very clean. And some of these are, I don't know which ones to take off right now, so I'm just going to go straight to our moderators watch list. Let's see what we have going on here, and I can fine tune this later in our chat room as we continue there with the members. All right, let's bring over our lineup. What do we have here? All right, let's move this.
I just got a nice little morning bite here on SKT. I went long at 2074.
Very nice.
When it held the average and broke that high. Got a good partial at VWAP. So now I'm hanging on here to see if these WSB folks are going to come in here and launch this thing.
Hold the line.
Yes,
it looks
diamond
like
hands going or something.
For those that do not know what our chat room looks like, this is our chat here. This is our notification. You can see Andrew took this trade with you too as well. So he's in that one also. Very nice. You can see all our members and moderators chatting here. We got a couple of tabs, and then this might look weird, but it won't look weird if you might get like a double look or something. But here is our the way our chat room will look, so you'll be able to see whoever's sharing their screen. So again, pretty good stuff here, guys. Do the intro membership, please. Check it out, and join me on Monday for our live onboarding. It costs you $20, pre-market 24. We can hang out, talk a little bit about stocks and the learning curve and all that great stuff. All right, guys, moderators lineup. Let's go in here. What do we have? So Peter, IPOs, none really. INNV is listed, but seems it has been open for years, so that's odd. All right, cool. Peter is looking at CCL, AMD, of course, NEO, secondary list, NCLH, KR, and SKT. New WSB target. That is the thing. It's not gonna become a thing. That is the thing now. So we got to be very aware of that. Here's Amen, Trip, Neo, Piton, secondary list, Workhorse, BLNK, Zoom, and maybe DKNG. Yeah, looking very good there. John is looking at and Amen always says this right here. Again, nothing I'm much excited about for trading style, right? For his trading style, and then he puts up these charts that are amazing. So don't get fooled by this. He's an amazing trader. I think he's just downplays things. Don't get fooled by that. Here's Dima. She is watching DKNG, Fubo, PLTR, and NEO. Tiffany likes NEO, CCL, PLTR. Secondary list is NCLH and DKNG and BA. Mike is looking for breakout here, and BA is the top of his list. And Andrew is looking at NEO, SKT, which he's already in, CCL, and PLTR. So Brian coming in with his list, RKT, DKNG, CAN, CCL, and SKT. So again, pretty good watch list today, guys. So much to choose from. This market is very fun to trade. Looking forward to having an amazing market open, and not just market open, guys, the entire day, even the afternoons. I come back now in the afternoons when Thor, you are on, Peter's on, Brian is on, and it's just amazing what's happening in this market. So all right, guys.
This market has been fantastic for intraday plays lately. And I was kind of doing a presentation a little bit during my 1 o'clock time yesterday, which is I was kind of showing everybody the comparison between the opening range versus the rest of the day, because it used to be a half a year ago, even a year ago, opening range dominated. You would get 80% of your entire day's move in the opening range, and then you just kind of chop and flag the rest of the day. Now it's the opposite, where you're getting choppier opens that don't move as far, and then you're getting a decision made, and then an all-day fade or an all-day rally out of the stock. And you like CCL yesterday. CCL just crushed down, got a beautiful short, and then it turned around and ended up becoming an all-day rally. Either one of those interests would have been highly more profitable than playing the opening range.
I agree 100%. Guys, thank you so much on YouTube for joining us this morning. We appreciate you guys doing that. We will be back on live with Jared at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, so do not miss that. Make sure you're joining us at the new time there for the market just breakdown that he does every morning. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. It really means a lot to us over here. So take care, trade safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great one.